Hey, this is Tara Pritchett, confidence coach for women, and I'm excited to talk to you today. Another episode of Fierce TV. And hey, how are you? So I'm excited. Our song for today is from Cardi B and from Bruno Mars, their new song, Finesse. And I don't know if it's new, but the video just came out, and I like it. So welcome. If this is your first time joining, as always, my name is Tara Pritchett, and I am a confidence coach for women. Hey, Juanita. And I'm a confidence coach for women. Hey. So I love working with and empowering women, typically who are single professional women, who are kind of tired and frustrated of not having it all right in their life, especially in the areas of their personal growth and development, their purpose, and also in their relationships, especially if they want to get married. Okay. So as always, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which is everybody's new favorite. So usually I read something from my book, Born Fierce: How to Unleash the Confident Woman Within. But today, because we're talking about vision boards, I'm not going to do that. Instead, if you haven't already, I want to recommend that you get a copy of my 2018 Fierce Dream Life Planner, which is available at unleashyourfierce.com/dream. So it will help you reflect and think about things from the year previously, right? So here's 2017, right? So yes, I do use my stuff that I put out. You do reflection, you do a release, and this is a free resource. We have some little graphics in there just to inspire you as you go through. You have to pick your little word for this year, right? And the reason why I'm showing you this is because before creating a vision board, this is a type of tool. And whether it's this tool or there are others, right? There's also others that I use as well. I use mine, and I also use another one that I really, really love, by a lady. Her name is Susanna Conway. And she creates like a 30, 40, or 50 page one every single year. And it's phenomenal. So I use I have like two different purposes, so that's why I use both. But again, if you haven't already, you need to make sure you get yours, right? Here are the little squares that really break down for you every single area of your life, like body and health, family and children, career and work, so that when you go to do a vision board, it's so much easier because you've already taken the time to reflect, to release, and then you position and prepared yourself for what it is that you want next, right? Then at the very end of it, and this is going to connect to one of my points today. Okay, I went too far. The very end is a letter writing exercise where you have to act as if it is December 31st, 2018. And you have to write out how, like as if it is that date, what happened over the course of that year, right? So sometimes in the past, I've skipped out on this, like, oh, I don't feel like doing it because I do it in another planner that I already have. But this year I did one here. And then I also did one for my business as well, which I actually just did before I got on here. So it is definitely something worth checking out. Again, unleashyourfierce.com/dream. All right, so let's stop Cardi B and Bruno Mars because they are doing the most, even though I love them. And let's get into how to attract outrageous success in life, love, and money from vision boarding. So I know in recent years, vision boarding has become super, super popular. You already know what it is, right? I don't think I need to give you a step-by-step breakdown as to what exactly it is and how to like sit down and cut out pictures and create one, right? So it seems like it's simple and easy. But over the course of the last couple of years, there have been a number of, coaches, authors, speakers, they want to be innovative. So they've come out and they've said that vision boards are, they're like ineffective, or you shouldn't worry about making a dream board or whatever the case may be. And for some people, that is true, right? Some people, that is true. But the important thing that you need to know is that vision boards are not dead, right? If that makes sense. And a lot of women make vision boards. But the problem with so many people making vision boards is that a lot of people make the board. They put a lot of time and energy to put their pictures and all of that stuff, on their board, making it nice, hanging it up. And then they get to the end of a year and they realize that they have not actually accomplished half of the stuff that's on the board, right? So there's some disconnect there, right? Which is why a lot of people will say, oh, there's no sense in you making a board, because you making a board is not going to make things happen, right? So obviously we all get some kind of vision that we have for our year and for our life. However, you putting in the work and the hustle to make it happen is a different thing, right? So I know I just finished my board, which looks like this for this year. Right, so which I'm excited about, but it took me some time to put it together in order for all the pieces of the puzzle to come together, right? So what's the difference between those people who spend all this time and energy making a vision board and nothing happens versus the women who spend the time and energy, they make the vision board, but then they actually have things manifest and happen, right? There is a difference between those two type of women, right? So the biggest one, and the first thing I want to share with you of how you can attract outrageous success after you have taken the time to reflect and to put all of the items on the board that make the most sense for you. The first thing that you have to understand and that you need to know is that in order for you to attract anything that's on a vision board or any goal that you have written down, especially during this time of the year, since it's a new year, so all of the energy is very fresh and it's very new, is that you are never, ever going to attract anything that is not in alignment with where you are and who you are. So unless you are an energetic match to what you want, it doesn't matter what you put down on your vision board. So if you put down on your vision board that, you want to be happily married this year, or if you put on your vision board, you want to lose 60 pounds, right? None of those things matter if you're not an energetic match to attract that into your life, right? So you got to keep that in mind. You have to be the type of woman who can attract that certain thing into your life. You got to be that kind of woman who can attract that kind of man into your life, who is a marriage material, who does want to be with you forever and ever, right? You have to be the kind of woman, right, who can actually stay consistent with a healthy eating plan that will help you lose 60 pounds by the end of this year. And if you're not ready to be that woman, that's cool. It will sit on your vision board, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen to you on the outside, on the physical, right? So it's not just what you put down on the board. It's more so who you become, right? And I know in some of my previous videos, I think in my first episode of Fierce TV, I brought this up, that even when we are praying, we need to stop asking God what he wants us to do. Like, God, what do you want me to do this year? What do you want me to do in this season? And instead, you need to start asking God, who do you need me to become in order for me to fulfill your purpose, in order for you to use me, right? But also in order for me to be happier, because a lot of times when we are trying to control everything and how everything pans out, we get into this little struggle battle, because God might want you to do one thing, but you over here doing another thing. And then we start bumping heads and we're like, why is this not working? Sometimes you could feel as though, okay, there's God not hearing me, right? We all have those seasons where, hey, Dina, we all have those seasons where we might feel as though that God is not listening, or he doesn't hear us, which is not necessarily the case, right? We all have, our peaks where everything's amazing, but we all have our valleys where everything is not amazing and it doesn't feel good. So again, long story short, if you want to attract the outrageous success that you want based on what you've put on your board, then you need to, become an energetic match for the things that are on that board, right? So, and not only do you have to become a match for those things, you also have to, number 2, be intentional about how you are attracting and bringing those things into your life. So I know on my board at the very bottom of it, I don't know if you can see, you see right here, it says speaker, right? So I'm already a speaker, right? So that's nothing new. But this year I want to commit myself to getting 5 paid speaking engagements. And I already get paid to speak, but I'm increasing that, right? But I also want to follow the system that I learned from my coach from last year, right? Which I didn't necessarily, I learned it, but I haven't implemented it yet, right? So I can say all day, okay, I want 5 speaking engagements when it comes to 2018. Right? But I have to become an energetic match for that, number 1. So first of all, I have to believe in myself and believe I can be that speaker and believe I can command that new price, right? Because people who might have liked me last year reaching out to me already, right? I had somebody reach out on January 1st, right? But what they paid me last year is not what I'm going to accept for this year. So I have to be confident enough, right? I have to be that kind of woman. Like, I charge this amount, and if you want me to come back again, this is what it's going to cost you, right? It's an investment. If you want me to come back, then this is what it's going to be, right? So first of all, I have to be that kind of woman who can attract that to me. And some people, they might be like, okay, no, we're not going to pay that. Fine. Then that means y'all not my people no more, right? Because that means now I've evolved. So I'm no longer a match for that certain arena, right? That's how it works. But second, I want to be intentional. And I'm also requiring that of you. Be intentional about the stuff that you put down. So not only, right, that I say that I want to be, this speaker, where's she at? Oh, I must have too far on there, right? But I just before I got on here, I just went through an entire goal setting and reflection process, right? I just got this 160-page business reflection workbook. You like that? That's good. Workbook where I had to literally write down, and which is something I usually don't do as specifically because I'm a words girl. I'm very abstract, right? I'm an English teacher, so I don't like narrow technical stuff. That's just not me. But in order for me to be more successful at what I do and be more intentional, I have to be a little bit more technical in the stuff that I do. So I literally just wrote down, right? So in order for me to make this amount of money, right, this year from speaking by charging this specific amount every time that I speak, then that means that I have to market to and I have to reach out to blank XYZ amount of people in order for me to secure this amount of gigs. Then underneath of that, right, so I'm being very intentional. Underneath of that, I put down, what do I need to update or create in order for me to make that happen? So what do I need to update or create? I need to finish my new speaker reel. I need to get my speaker one sheet done, right? I had paid for it before and then never sent in the materials because I'm slow, because I wasn't being intentional. I had it, okay, that's going to be my goal. Okay, I'm going to just put that on my vision board. And then I never do it, okay? So if a speaking engagement popped up and it was in alignment, I'll be like, okay, but I wasn't being intentional about it. So I didn't necessarily hit the success goal maybe that I set out originally at the beginning of last year. Does that make sense, right? So, right, so I have my to-do list. What do I need to update? What do I need to create? I also need to update my website because I got some feedback from multiple different coaches as to, how I can improve. I already have a speaking website, but how can I improve it so that it's even more attractive to attract, who I want to me to give me those speaking engagements, right? Then another column to-do list was, what is my marketing to-do list? So how am I going to market myself? Then the next one was, how am I going to sell myself? If I'm reaching out to people, so I had to make another list, right? And then lastly, I had to make a list of how am I going to deliver. So say somebody does secure me to come speak for them, right? How am I going to deliver on the promise? If I'm asking them to pay me this amount of money, how am I going to ensure that I'm the bomb and I'm dynamic and they're going to refer me or they're going to want me to come back over and over again? So then that way I have a recurring income that's coming in just from me speaking and using the gift that God gave me, right? Does that make sense? So again, let's go back to the first one. So the first one is you have to become an energetic match in order for you, right, to manifest what you want on that vision board, right? And then the second thing is you have to be intentional about the things that you have put on there. So it's not just a matter of just cutting pictures out, right? You want to be intentional about how are you going to actually execute and make this particular thing happen. And what you did before to get you to where you are may not get you to where you're trying to go. Right? Like I said, in the past, I would just kind of be like, okay, if somebody reaches out to me, then I'll do a speaking engagement, right? But last year, that's why I hired a coach and did a program because I was like, okay, I want to be more serious about this. And I went through it, but I still need to implement, right? Because it was a lot of content. I still need to implement all of the pieces to be more intentional if I want to have that outrageous success, right? So the hope and the goal is that over the course of this year, you're going to see me manifesting those things on the outside because I just share with you what I'm privately doing on the inside, right? And we already know you cannot have a public victory unless you already have the private order going on within yourself, right? That's how I become the energetic match. So then when I show up on Facebook, you're like, oh, she's doing this and that. Yeah, but you don't know all that I did before I showed up. You're just seeing the final ending product. You're not seeing all the work or the hours that I'm putting in outside. You're just seeing the final thing showing up, right? But that's what it looks like on the outside. But in order to have that outside success, you have to first get yourself privately in order, if that makes sense, right? So the third thing that you want to do when you're creating a vision board and you want to have outrageous success is you want to be specific about what you want. So I know me, I took a number of hours cutting out, looking through all of these goddamn magazines. And lucky for me, I had the time because I'm a teacher and we were off for the holidays. So I had the time to do that. Usually, right, I wouldn't usually have it on a regular week. But luckily I had that. You might not have that. So one way to ensure that you're being more specific, right? You want to be more specific with what you are doing, right? I'm sure you probably heard of SMART goals. I was just telling my students this yesterday. They're like, what are SMART goals? I'm like, I think most adults have heard of it, right? So SMART goals are simply, your goal is specific, right? It's measurable. I believe it's attainable, right? The R is realistic, and then the T is timely, right? So being specific, one way to cut down, especially if you don't have a lot of time, but you want that visual, is to go online, go to Google Images, right? And after you have went through your 2018 Fierce Dream Life Planner and you've mapped out everything you want, look at me, I got all the stuff on the back. So even though I went through the planner, I then made a whole nother planner on the back of stuff that I want to do. I'm crazy, right? And the reason why I did this is because I wanted to be more specific. So I wrote down on the other side that I wanted to read more books or something. But on here, I wrote down, read 8 books completely. But then I actually went through and listed some of the ones I already have that I haven't finished, or some that I'm going to finish for this year. That's what I mean by being specific. But anyway, what I was trying to get to was to go on Google and do a search for specifically what it is that you want. So for example, if I want to read those 8 books this year, then maybe I need to go look up those 8 titles, right? Copy and paste them, screenshot them, cut them off in color, right? Color makes it pop. Cut those out and put them on the board. That way I'm being super specific. And even on my board, I'm trying to look at something I was specific about pretty much everything, to be honest. I'm not even gonna lie. Like when it comes to I guess my relationship category, instead of me just putting down, oh, Black love is amazing, I want romance. Now I put down specific words such as marriage material, right? And to be honest, I've never had an issue attracting anybody that wasn't marriage material, to be honest. That's actually a strong suit that I have. But I put that on there because I wanted to enhance that. I also put very, very small, I don't know if y'all can see it, but it says soulmate. Because I not only do I want marriage material, but I specifically want to attract my soulmate, right? So that's what I mean by being extra specific. Up here, I put on here specifically a girl reading a book. Why? Because that's something that I'm going to intentionally focus on over the course of this year. Something else I wanted to point out on here. Oh, and even for like business, I specifically put on here, as I mentioned earlier, right, that, I want to be a speaker. And then I also was intentional by putting next to each other my business and all of that together in alignment with my relationships, my relationship with a man, but also my relationships with other women, because to me, they're all connected. And then I've intentionally put, I don't know if y'all can see this, where it says a vibrant legacy as well. But I intentionally put those all together. And then my other one was this, which says empire moves. Because to me, I'm building an empire. And when I get married, the other person also is going to be building an empire. But not only that, I also am going to need resources and to be supported as well. And I want a very tight and strong feminine network. So I also purposely position certain things on the board to be in alignment and be connected together. Like, that's how intentional I am. I know that might be a little much, but I purposely put them together. Just like I also purposely put self-care and God and praying and taking care of my body towards the top, right? In the past years, I didn't really do that, but I was being more intentional as I put it all together because I wanted to be specific. Because before I can get to business, love, and all of that, I have to take care of myself, right? So I purposely put that at the top. So as you go through, it kind of all wraps up and ties in together and comes in together, right? If that makes sense. So be specific, be intentional, right? If you want to make a certain amount of money in your business, write that down, put that on your board. And nobody else has to see your board, but think about those things, even down to, your relationships, even down to money, right? Even for money, I have on here, I put down savings, I put down budget, right? Those are specific words that are going to be themes and focuses for me for this year. So I need to see them on a day-by-day basis to remind me of what the woman that I need to be in order for me to be that woman who's constantly saving, who's constantly, you know, doing X, Y, and Z, so that I am positioning myself for that outrageous success in life, love, and money, right? All right. So another thing you can do once you get your board down, you have everything kind of set up over here, is you want to act as if you already have the things that you want and you desire. That goes directly back to number one, which is to become an energetic match. That's why at the very end of the Fierce Dream Life Planner, I'm asking you to write out exactly how you want things to go, right? The same is true. Like I said, I just did the same thing for my business. I pretend that I was being interviewed for some magazine, and they're talking about the amazing year that I had in business and the accomplishments I had. But then after that, I also wrote down some success stories that I had from clients. So I had to pick 2 clients from last year that I already had success stories with, and then add 2 new people, right? And I'm acting as if, and it's 2 people that I've connected with, but they haven't necessarily become clients yet, but I feel like they are ideal clients. What I did was I wrote a success story based on what would be ideal for me. Who ideally do I want to work with, right? Because that's the beauty of having a business. You get to choose. You don't got to work with everybody, right? So I specifically wrote down what their success story, I acted as if this is what their success story is going to be, right? Another way to help you get into alignment with acting as if, and I shared this in episode 2 of Fierce TV. If you haven't seen it, you can go back and watch it. But I added in that one practice I've been doing a lot lately is guided meditation, right? And guided meditation has been amazing for me. In the past, I didn't really know what I was doing, but because it helps you to release things, but it also helps you to act as if you already have what you already want. And there's meditations for everything on YouTube. And I will be making some specifically for some women in my own community soon, just because of how powerful it is, right? Because your mind doesn't know the difference between what you put on your vision board, whether it's real or whether it's fake. So if you're acting as if something is real, it's going to become real. So if you want to go on that vacation, how about you act as if you're already going, right? Maybe you don't have all the money. Maybe you don't know where you're going to go, but maybe you pull out your calendar for 2018 and you turn to, okay, I'm going to go July 16th to July 20th, 2018. Right? And then maybe in a couple of weeks, you go ahead, you put down money for a hotel or for a flight. And then you will see how over time it will manifest and it will come together for you, right? Just because you put on your vision board again doesn't mean it's going to come into fruition. But there are ways, right, that we like to say, and I have it in this book right here, The Game of Life, and How to Play. An excellent book on manifesting things. But in this book, the author talks about, this is a classic book that a lot of people in like the self-help and personal development world read. But she talks about this whole idea of digging a ditch. And what she means by digging a ditch is, say you really need money, or you really want to go on a vacation, or you really want a relationship in a certain amount of time or something of that nature. So she says to like dig a ditch, which is very similar to when people say like sow a seed. So if you really want, you know, a certain amount of money, somebody might suggest to you to sow a seed. So maybe you give, I don't know, a bunch of $1 bills out all over at some particular place, or even if you kind of stash them places and people find them, it's almost like you're sowing a seed, right? Because when you give, what you obviously know you're going to receive something back in return once you're giving something out. So the same thing is true with digging a ditch, right? In terms of, if you know you want a new car, right? So for example, I want to get a new car because I had my little baby for a minute. It's all the way at the top, you know? So I put on there, I want to buy a new car. But in order for me to act as if I already have it, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Toyota and I'm going to test drive out multiple cars. My best friend and I did that last year. But for me, it's like a manifestation tool that I use, right? Because when I'm in the energy in that space, I can even sit in there and visualize, okay, I'm in my car and I'm riding. I can even take pictures in there, print that picture off, put it on my vision board, or make a separate vision board. And then that way I'm acting as if I'm becoming an energetic match to the person with that brand new car. Because when you're in a brand new car, guess what a brand new car has inside of it? It has a brand new car smell, right? And one way to solidify things and act as if is to tap into your 5 senses. So what do you want it to feel like? What do you want it to sound like? What do you want it to smell like? The taste like? What do you want it to, did I say sound? I probably already did. What do you want it to look like? So getting yourself in energetic alignment. I can even go test drive it and ask my best friend, okay, take a picture of me outside of the car. Or, oh, can I test drive? Can I ride around? Right? Again, acting as if allows you to dig a ditch because you're in a place of expectation. If you dig a ditch, what are you expecting? You're going to put something in it, right? So that's basically what you're doing. So if I'm out and I'm test driving, I'm getting into the energetic, vibration of it, then I'm one step closer to actually manifesting it. It's not just sitting on my board as a fantasy or something that I want, but I'm actually putting myself out there so that I can actually receive it back to me, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And I'm about to get to my final one, right? So even though, and I mentioned this already, we might have our grand plans, right? We already know, and Oprah said it best, that God can always dream a bigger dream for you than you can ever dream for yourself. So even though we plan out a whole bunch of stuff, this is my vision, this was going to happen, I'm going to do this, and then stuff in life happens, stuff pops up, both negative, but also both positive. So my last and final one is to always leave some space in your board and in your life for miracles to happen, or for things to show up and occur that you weren't even expecting to occur, right? So with that, I actually have a second board, and I'm not going to show you until the end of the year, but it has like a gold glitter border around it. But what I'm doing, I've already made my board, right? I already know this is what I want, this is what I desire. But as I go through the course of the year, I'm going to keep two boards. I'm going to have my one board I just showed you. I'm going to have that up on display. Keep that visible all year. I recommend you do that as well. But then I also, this year, I'm going to have a God board as well, where when unexpected miracles and opportunities and blessings come my way, I am going to date it and put it on there. I already put the first one, right? I got a paid speaking engagement offer right on January 1st. And I was like, okay, I didn't even reach out. I didn't even reach out to anybody. I didn't even put, okay. So, which was nice. So I went ahead and I already added that to my board, right? Because I have my size goals, but then there's God size goals, right? Which are not always easy to do on your own, but I'm putting it out there that I'm in a place of expectation that miracles are going to happen. Unexpected money is going to show up. Everything that's attached to me is going to win, and things are going to start flowing in that I didn't even expect. I might go to the mailbox there. Oh, here's a check for $1,000. Oh, was that for me? Being in that place of expectation and opening yourself up to miracles, I think is an important thing that you need to do if you want to attract outrageous success in life, love, and money, right? And prayer obviously is a part of that. And I've seen how awesome that is and how it works in one's life. But again, leave yourself open to miracles. You just never know what might happen over the course of this year. And I want to see, honestly, myself, when I get to the end of the year, I want to be able to go back to that board and look through not only what I've been able to do and accomplish, but also what things that I didn't even imagine or think of that actually do occur over the course of this year. And it's also, in a way, it's not only just a God board. I think part of it for me is also a gratitude board. Usually in the past, I do a gratitude jar where I write down little things and drop it in on a piece of paper. But now I guess I'm doing like a bigger visual. So I'll see how that goes for me. But when you're in a place of being thankful, then you attract to you more of that. So if I'm like, God, I'm so thankful for that speaking opportunity, guess what's probably going to happen? Another one is going to come, right? So again, when something unexpectedly happens that is amazing and only God can set that up, then I'm going to make sure I write it down to express gratitude and appreciation, but to also just, again, keep myself open to miracles. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed these tips on how to create a vision board that attracts outrageous success in life, love, and money as well. And money, right? So again, you have to become the kind of person who can attract the things that are on the board, right? You have to be intentional and you have to be specific about what it is that you want to manifest and bring into your life. You also, did I already mention be specific? I think I did say be specific. You also need to be specific about what it is that you want to attract into your life. You need to act as if you already have what it is that you want, right? You have to, again, get into that energetic space, that vibrational frequency of being a woman who can make $10,000 a month. There's a certain vibe you give off if you can bring in that kind of money, right? But then there's a certain vibe you give off if you have a poverty mindset and you're used to struggling. That's a vibe that you give off. And you could tell by the way that you talk. You could tell by the thoughts that you have, right? You could tell. And I will just say, if you are not in the Budgetnistas Dreamcatcher group, then like you're missing your whole life. I just joined a couponing group. And I'm like, wow, right? But again, that's one of the ways that I'm positioning myself to be in alignment and be a match for the goals, the financial goals that I've set out for myself for this year, right? Is being in that group and being around all of that type of energy. People are constantly every day posting, I saved this amount of money, my credit score is here, I just bought a house. Like that type of energy as well, surrounding yourself with that type of energy is also another way that you attract outrageous success, right? Is by seeing other people do what you desire to do. And instead of you being jealous or being envious, like, oh, I'm so behind, or, oh, I can't believe I'm in this certain situation. Instead, you're like, wow, if they can buy these houses and do all this stuff and save all this money, imagine what I can do, right? And some people's situations are worse, some people are better, but it's like, wow, right? And again, it's almost like you use other people's energy almost as a muse for your own self, right? To kind of position yourself and pump yourself up. Like, he's really doing that or she's really doing that. So like that energy is infectious. It's contagious. Let it rub off on you. So also that would be a bonus tip, is surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, whether it's online, right? Or whether that's in person, right? And also that depends on the certain areas of your life that you want to be intentional about for this particular year. Right? So you got to keep that in mind. What areas do you really want to work on? That's going to help you determine who you need to connect with. Friendship wise, there might be a friend or friends or associates you need to add into your life that you didn't necessarily need last year because that wasn't your focus. But now you need to get in alignment with somebody else. There might be a group you want to join. There might be a program you need, right? Or there might be a coach you need to work with or a book you need to read based on those areas that you want to focus on. That's how you figure out what your personal development budget is going to be for the year, whether you have one or not. Now, a lot of people, depends. Some people that come to me are like, oh, I don't have a budget for that. Well, that's something to consider as you move forward, right? You don't just want to have a professional development. You also want to have a personal, because how are you investing in yourself, right? One way you create outrageous success is what you pour into yourself, right? Not just for, you and your career or your business, but what are you pouring into your own self, right? And I learned that last year because I will always pour a lot of money into my business. But then my whole life changed when I actually invested money, time, and energy into somebody to help me personally. And I was like, oh, this is what we're doing, right? And it completely changed my entire life. Right now is another way that I was able to make the things I wanted on a vision board become a reality, because I got into alignment with other women and other people who could help me become, right? And when you are if somebody's mentoring you who has already become that millionaire, or if somebody is mentoring you who has already been where you are and they've already 2, 3, or 4 steps ahead of you, then that's the person you need to be in alignment with, right? If you are the smartest one in the room or in the group, then that means that you're not winning. You need to be with somebody that's up here versus you being with people that are just right here. And it might be uncomfortable. I remember going to a conference, and I used to share this story all the time. A couple years ago, when I first started out, I had my first business coach. I went all the way to Florida to this conference, and I'm not really like very name brandy. I'm not into like weaves and like makeup and hair. Like, that's just not me at all. But when I get to the conference, I go into the room, it's like all that from top to bottom. And I was like, what did I just sign up for? Like, I know the coach, she's all like weaved and glammed and all that kind of stuff, which is cool. But I just wasn't ready for it. So when I walked into the room, I did feel uncomfortable because I'm coming in natural. You know, I'm already cute, but I'm natural. I don't got the high heel on. I don't have the weave in. I have on like light makeup. I got my lip gloss. I'm myself. So I was like, I felt a little uncomfortable, but after going through the conference and being there, part of it had to do with their branding, right? They wanted to appear as a certain type of brand around certain people. Okay. And even though it was uncomfortable, somebody sent me a message. So even though it was uncomfortable at first, it was necessary for me to learn how to up level and see, okay, I can take from this bits and pieces. I don't need to become somebody else, but I see what they mean by using this as a branding tool or as a branding strategy or whatever the case may be. I got it. But being in that room with that kind of energy, that definitely gave me elevation, but it also gave me a lot of motivation to come back home and to do X, Y, and Z and get it done, and to reposition myself and rebrand and all this kind of stuff that really helped propel me to another level. So again, it's important to be around other people who might be a little bit here. And again, not to feel envious or jealous or like, oh, I'm too so far behind, but to actually learn and see how other women in other arenas, how they operate, right? And how they function, right? I just joined an organization with a whole lot of Black women, and they're at all different, and most of them are older than me. But for me, I have like a thing for older Black women. I don't know why. Where I like absolutely love learning from them, and I love watching them, because I always, I guess, imagine how I'm going to be, I guess, when I get to that age. And so in the older Black women that are like real fly and like full of wisdom, like those are my favorites. So I'm always kind of watching them and observing, and I'm like, that's interesting. Like, kind of watch she has on, or I wonder what she thinks about this, right? So I'm always kind of watching, but it's a beautiful thing to be in the presence of all of these beautiful older Black women, because they're bringing all these different things to the table. And it's beautiful, right? Because it allows me to see where I want to go and how I can become an energetic match for the things that I want to have as I move forward. Okay. All right. So I'm going to say, have a happy time creating your vision board or implementing the tips and the steps that I have suggested. If you are somebody who feels as though you need some more clarity and confidence, or even you need some confirmation, maybe you have been praying, you've been hearing some stuff, but you're like, I'm not really sure, then that means that we perhaps need to have a conversation. And I'm offering Fierce Clarity Breakthrough Sessions, and you can see the link that is attached here, unleashyourfierce.com/chat, where you can go to my calendar and sign up for a complimentary 30-minute clarity session that will help you kind of figure out what is going to be your focus. What are you going to specifically need to focus on and work on, so that you can flow in the right way in 2018, right? So that you can position yourself for what's for this next level and what's for this new season. Allow me the opportunity to share that with you, right? You obviously will share with me where you are, where you feel as though you might be stuck, where you need some help moving forward. And then from there, I will give you the clarity, the confidence, or the confirmation that you need in order for you to have that fierce clarity breakthrough that will propel you to your next level. Okay. So again, thank you for joining me. Please do me a favor and click the share button and share this on your page. Until next time, have a good night. Bye.